Culture, it's a buzzword. It's popular, it sounds good in the industry, but what does it really mean? Safety culture should be mandatory in the real estate industry. When the U.S. Department of Labor considers real estate sales and leasing a high risk and hazardous occupation, we have work to do. When the very job definition of a real estate agent includes meeting complete strangers in empty houses, sitting in empty houses waiting for strangers to walk in, we have work to do. When the National Association of REALTORS, in their annual member safety report, discovers that 60,000 real estate professionals have been the victim of crimes ranging from rape, from assault to murder, robbery, we have work to do. My goal is to increase the safety culture in the real estate industry. In order to do that, I have to tell you how to get there. I have 5 key points that you can start today to help increase the safety in the real estate industry. We're going to get started. Number 1, safety starts at the top. If leadership buys in and leadership values safety, everyone values safety. That means leadership is talking about safety on a regular basis. Leadership is empowering your employees, your staff, and your agents to implement safe practices. Leadership is making sure they have training and then supporting that training and making sure that it actually occurs. Number 2, establish a safety committee. This committee needs to be made up of at least 1 member from each department. That's the sales, staff, as well, administrative staff, as well as leadership, ownership, management at a minimum. The leadership committee, and the more the merrier, the leadership committee should meet on a regular basis. Put it on the schedule right now. Schedule it out for the entire year. That way it's priority and it's treated as such. A once a month meeting is ideal. Every other month, or at the very minimum, a quarterly meeting. Now, the safety committee is going to be empowered and tasked with forming safety initiatives. That includes expert-led safety training. They are to identify and to schedule safety training, just like someone schedules marketing and sales training and how to increase production, right? So safety training is right up there, right along with them. They will also make sure that safety is discussed in all communications. That means in sales meetings, there is a safety tip or a safety practice that is shared. That means all outgoing information, either to agents as well as the consumer. You're talking safety, the safety of the agents, the safety of the consumer, why we do what we do, how we do what we do to keep all parties safe. The safety committee is also going to be tasked with making sure the office looks like a safe office. That includes tips and practices. I see those inspirational signs throughout your offices. I'd like to see some safety signs, some safety posters talking about why safety culture is so important. Community safety programs can be scheduled. And then the safety committee should be friends with someone in the safety world who can help guide them. But most importantly, they need to be empowered in order to keep the business and the employees, staff, and the field force safe. You need to invest time, energy, and funds into safety. That means you take it seriously. If your people, meaning team, consumers, vendors, know that you're willing to write a check to invest in safe applications, safety applications, screening applications, safety resources, online resources, safety tools for your team, safety training, bringing in expert-led educators, then they know that you mean business. Implementing psychological safety probably should be number 1. A psychologically safe environment helps reduce your liability. It increases production. It also increases recruitment and retainment. If agents see that it's a safe environment, they're going to want to stick around or they're going to work for you. Let me define psychological safety. Psychological safety means people, your team, feel comfortable speaking up. If they see something wrong, if they see something good, if they have ideas, they feel comfortable speaking up and they don't worry about retaliation, punishment, and they know that their ideas will be warmly received. I implore you to invest in psychological safety training. Make sure your management team, as well as your employees, your staff, your team members, your agents, understand that it's a different day now. They can come to you and thank them for sharing information that could be dangerous, hazardous, and that information that needs to be known. You also need to make sure that you have procedures in place. If someone reports harassment or bullying, your safety committee can work in conjunction with your attorney to make sure there is a reporting mechanism in place. How do you report that kind of crime? And it needs to be consistent. Do you go to a place? Can you do it online? Is it anonymous? Is there a person? You need to make sure that whatever you do, that the consistency is there when it comes to dealing with those who may violate those rules and policies. That keeps you safe, and it also keeps you out of trouble. Finally, value expertise. You tell FSBOs, for sell-by owners, that they should not try to sell their house on their own. They need to enlist the help of a real estate professional, right? Because you have experience, you have training, you have knowledge that they don't have. That same rule applies in the safety world. A talking head is not going to cut it. Someone who speaks well about another topic and who can read a PowerPoint, that's not expert-led training. This is not an area where you take shortcuts. This is where true subject matter experts should be employed. It shows itself in the real estate world when you deal with FSBOs, for sell-by owners. You are telling them that they are not equipped or qualified to sell their own house. You are the professional. You have the experience, you have the training, and this is what you do for a living. The exact same thing applies for safety training. A talking head is not good enough. Someone who knows how to read a PowerPoint well is not acceptable. Anyone who is not well versed in the day in and day out practices of a real estate agent is not qualified to offer expert-led safety training. Now, there could be teams of people who can add value in the areas where they have expertise, but day-to-day safety training and safe practices should be left up to experts. I always say, imagine that something happens to your agent and you find yourself on the receiving end of a lawsuit. You want to make sure that you've provided the best of the best in safety training. You want to make sure that your practices are outlined and that there's no question that safety is important in your organization. What I find is that in most industries, OSHA is the one who's overseeing safety. You know, in the real estate world, there is no OSHA. And someone told me I was the OSHA for the real estate world. Whatever it takes. Real estate industry, we all need to mandate that safety is imperative, that it is non-negotiable, as my friend Carl says. To make sure that all associations, boards, and real estate sales companies and all real estate companies are practicing safety across the boards. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it's uniform throughout the industry, we can make an impact. We can make sure agents are not falling victim to crimes that are preventable. That's my number one goal. The first step is to click the link and request the assessment. Second step is let's assess the agents and assess the safety practices in your office. Let's find out where your strengths are and where you need improvement. And let's get some safety practices and expert-led training in place. What a way to wrap up Safety Month. Everyone, stay safe.